Hey there, it's Eli again, and I want to share the next tip in this 5-tip series that I'm putting out this week, and it is about not overcomplicating the photo shoot process as a real estate photographer. So in the last tip, we talked about why it is important or not a good idea to waste a lot of money on gear to shoot real estate, because gear is not what makes or breaks your success as a real estate photographer. It is the process you use with that gear. So to illustrate that point, I wanted to show you something really cool, and I want to show you how we get awesome photos at Norman & Young without flash, without any on-camera or off-camera lighting, and a really simple process, and using a really simple process that takes us literally like 30 seconds per photo. A whole house typically takes us about 30 minutes max to shoot. So I'm going to jump over to my screen here, and here's some of what we do to get our awesome photos. So we use a process called HDR in some extent, but it's really hand blended. And so on the right, you can see 3 photos. A dark exposure, so you see this one up on the top here is pretty underexposed. Then we have a middle exposure here, and then we have a bright exposure here. And you can set your camera up to do that automatically using a setting called auto exposure bracketing. So if you want to look this up for your camera, just type in your camera and then auto exposure bracketing. And we set those brackets to be 2 stops apart. And so what that means is when we take a photo with our camera, it takes a middle exposure, which you can see there in the middle, pretty balanced for the highlights and shadows. It's a little dark, but it is what it is. And then a -2 exposure, which is this dark one up here, and then a +2 exposure, which is this bright one down here. And that may seem a little complicated, but don't worry. When you do this with your camera, you literally just hit the shutter button once and the camera does all the work. And so we get those 3 photos that you see there on the right, and they look awful. The lighting is gross, the white balance is off, there's lens distortion, all of that looks bad. And then we run it through our editing process, which you can outsource this for less than $1 per image, or you can do it yourself and it's still pretty fast. But you can see that on the left here, that's the photo we ended up with. That's an awesome real estate photo. It's a very high quality photo. The window views are awesome. And the beauty of this is it cost us less than $1 to have this photo edited, and it required 0 flash or any lighting. And you can see that's an awesome photo. That's an amazing real estate photo. It's probably better than a lot of the photos you'll see in your area for the houses that are listed for sale. And so I tell you this because a lot of real estate photographers will tell you that you need to bring a flash and you need to do all of this complexity. And if you watch YouTube videos, a lot of them say use flash and like 3 or 4 flashes in some cases, and it just takes forever. It's really hard to learn, and the photos don't look that good. But you can see that our process is literally automated by your camera. We get those 3 photos on the right in literally like 3 seconds. When you hit the shutter button, it takes 1, 2, 3 photos really fast, and it's done. You move on to the next photo. And then on the left, the edited photo looks amazing, and you don't have to have any skills to get the photo to look like this. You literally can outsource this for like 80 cents an image, which is awesome. And that's a super high quality photo. And so that's a little bit of insight into our process. And I want to share one more thing that's pretty cool. That photo, this awesome photo that I can jump over to on the left here, that was shot using a Canon M50, which is that camera I recommended in the last video. It is an entry-level camera. It's really cheap, and you can take awesome photos using it. And more importantly, using it with a really simple process. So do not, if you decide to become a real estate photographer, let anybody tell you or instruct you to overcomplicate your process. That will not do anything for you. That will make it harder to be successful in this industry. And there's enough things when you're starting a business that are standing in your way. Don't let your photos be the thing that stands in the way. So that being said, that's a little bit of insight into our process. And so for tomorrow, now that you know what camera to buy and a little bit more about how to shoot awesome real estate photos, tomorrow is going to be the exact process I recommend on how to get real estate clients, because it doesn't matter how good your photos are if no one knows about them, and it doesn't really matter how good your photos are if no one pays you for them. So in tomorrow's video, I'm going to give you the inside scoop on how we teach our students to get real estate clients the easy way and the free way at the same time, which is super awesome. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you then.